EU survival is at stake. European Parliament chief reveals EU could collapse in 2 weeks. The President of the European Parliament Antoni Tajani issued a shock warning to European leaders ahead of a crucial European Council summit at the end of June. Speaking at the Parliament in Strasbourg this week, Mr. Tajani said the current migrant debacle encompassing Europe could be the final nail in the coffin for the bloc. A migration crisis has hit the EU this week, after Italy has stood by its decision to block migrant rescue ships from docking at the country's ports. At the same time, Germany faces shock uncertainty amid calls for Chancellor Angela Merkel to stand down following a coalition argument. Mr. Tajani addressed the parliament over the growing scandal, warning that a fundamental decision must be made when the European Council meets at the end of June. He said, "The Union's own survival is at stake with the migration crisis. The European Council must take a clear stand on Parliament's asylum reform that reconciles firmness with solidarity." The European Parliament, which represents 500 million citizens in the EU, has approved reforms of the Dublin rules which could provide an excellent basis of exchange between the member states. Because we have not chosen a weak solution, we have harnessed solidarity with a forward-looking choice. We are willing to look for agreements. The next European Council has to take a decision on this, because this is about the whole of the EU and its future. Despite this warning over the European Council, the Maltese Prime Minister Joseph Muscat played down hopes of immediate reform. On Wednesday, he said European leaders were unlikely to reach any agreement on changing the Dublin regulation that governs migration, during the European Council summit later this month. French President Emmanuel Macron met with new Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte yesterday, with the former taking a swipe at his German counterpart. He accused the German Chancellor of failing to follow EU rules and turning away migrants at the port of entry, despite being the first country to be reached in the Schengen area. Mr. Macron also expressed support for Mr. Conte's call for Europe to reform its asylum system to distinguish between genuine refugees and economic migrants before they left Africa. Yesterday, German MP Kaya Whittaker claimed that his country's leader could be the first leader to fall over the crisis amid fierce clashes within her fragile coalition. The German politician claimed clashes between Angela Merkel and German Interior Minister Horst Seehofer could result in a new political situation in Germany by the end of next week. The fallout sparked panic in the EU as Italy and Austria teamed up with Horst Seehofer, Germany's Interior Minister, in an axis of the willing to defy Mrs. Merkel's open-door policies.